Greetings. Join us. Fritzy's here. Everybody's quiet for right now. So yesterday they had their thermonuclear war yesterday before the recording, before we went live. So I guess they're still recovering from yesterday. So this is a remote view of Anunnaki. I'm not sure how that's going to go for some people, but it's tough. Explore the unknown. And Sophia, the Gnostic, you say the Gnostic Mother Earth, I guess. What is this? Pretty dark overall. I believe it has a strong presence here. At least that's the vision, the vibe I'm getting from her. Or that is Mother Earth right now, depending on your point of view. The Mother Gaia energy is still there, but you say Sophia is a stronger entity. Now take this wherever you want, so like an Archon energy, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, I believe the Sophia energy has a lot to do with why the world is the way it is. I can definitely feel that. I'll further explore this in the future, but it feels like it's it's not for everybody, but it's worth exploring. So the vibe I get with Sophia, so if you say that she's Mother Earth energy, she's kind of controlling this reality. She took on a physical form in her past, and then she became a sphere or something like that. I don't know the whole story. I don't know what I'm talking about with that. I'm still learning the whole mythology behind it. But it does make sense to have a female energy here. That's a Mother Earth type of, architecture, archetype that's causing a lot of the world's problems today. Take that or leave it, but it does make sense of why it's so hard to come out of this system, because it's so complicated. Well, it doesn't have to be complicated, but it's kind of complicated. So yeah, it's just a fall from grace, you can say. So it just feels like the more you understand it, or even though it even existed, I'm not even that familiar with it. You think I would know something about that, but I don't look at the Gnostic stuff ever. But I guess it steered its head towards my direction. So if you have like an Archon type of Mother Earth being that's here, it certainly would explain a lot that's going on with the world today. Especially the Archon beings are kind of, some of them are cyborg-like, with some, they have our DNA too, but they're also cyborg in some form, manipulating our reality on different levels. So it's complicated. But we are going into a time of, you say, the next Renaissance in some form or another. And also Pine Gap, I guess that's how you pronounce that. Pine. Anyway, that's where Australia is spying on everybody. At least the satellite stuff, their version of Area 51. And I guess Netflix had it on their show, but they had to remove it because it's putting too much details about them. No surprise there. Yeah, Netflix is definitely there to speak about the agenda in different forms. So you just call it entertainment and everything is fine. Even if it's a B movie, at least they told the population what they're doing. And it's I think they're going to, even was it the show Loki is revealing a lot, and also obviously Netflix on a certain level. So we're going to do a little bit of remote viewing also of Anunnaki, but also maybe Sophia. And we're going to Australia energy. So, lovely. So, all right. Avatar.com, we have private sessions. You have the scheduler, or we have the shop here. Same situation here. The shop, I'm on 15th still. Same situation here. A webinar tomorrow. Social network. And, behind the scenes. And yeah. So you got Sophia. So there's the Gnostic version. Just to make that clear. So slowly I'll go into that, but not going to go into the full of it today. And then you have Pine Gap. And just satellites. They're definitely picking up on a lot of alien energies there. Definitely. They just forgot to tell us about it. Yeah, eavesdropping, spying on people. Sure, they can do whatever they want. Lock the place down. I think Australia's still locked. I think they're coming out of the lockdown. Oh, but they might go back into another one now. Lovely. They say some places are going to be lockdowns. Sure about that? We're just getting started. There's going to be some places that are going to do it. They don't care. Just wait. It's kind of naive to think they're not going to do it. Why would you not do it? If you can do it, might as well, right? So, all right. So, going to Anunnaki, we channel the energies too of all of these, but Anunnaki beings on the moon and around the U.S. government, of course, and more of the fifth dimension. Yeah, especially in China. They are a little bit worried about China because of what they're up to. So, notice the word worry. Because some people said, Anunnaki don't give a shit about anything. Well, I guess some of them do. Yeah, it is that China might do some hostile takeovers of some U.S. companies, but it won't be made public. I'm not sure how that works exactly. Yeah, so there's a lot of back and forth behind the scenes going on with that. Basically, from what I get from the Anunnaki, they're a little bit worried. Obviously, you're already going through it now, but of that China will take over the U.S. government. At least they're trying to. At least I don't think it'll be successful, but they're definitely. Well, you see the presidential situation we have here. China is written all over that guy. So China is bribing a lot of senators, but the government. U.S. guy isn't sure who it is. They know bribery is going on. They're not sure how it's working exactly. But at least that's the vibe I get from that. Straight from the Anunnaki. Of course, feel free to double check my source if you can. But no, it makes sense. Yeah, China's trying to bribe obviously anybody, any company, anything they can do. But I do see them being successful with some U.S. Senators, more senators than congressmen. It is done so quietly, though. So that's what some of these FBI things are trying to catch or heal or whatever. I don't think they're getting very far with it, though. They know something's going on. It's a feeling, but they can't always prove it. At least that's the vibe I got from it. So is this any surprise? No. So apparently China is bribing a lot of government officials, but using other like third parties, fourth party, fifth party, doing on several different. Yeah, obviously it's not all. It is part of the Chinese government. It's not all of China, but there is part of it. That's involved with that. Well, yeah. There's a lot of Anunnaki around Shasta. Let's see. Well, if it's good or bad, they're not really saying, but I would say it's more, let's put it on a neutral level. Let's see. Yeah, I see a lot of Anunnaki around the government. So they are coming in as human. Of course, nobody would know it, but they do appear as human sometimes. For reasons. Of course, Washington isn't exactly, I mean, who knows what's going on? They can be underground when they're talking about, when they have the president talking to all these people. They can be an underground facility that looks like the presidency. Nobody's going to ever know. So who knows? Obviously, there's a lot of reptilian mind control around Biden. There's no surprise there, once again. Removing his thoughts, putting new thoughts in. It's like they're programming like a computer program. No surprise. They are using satellite technology. They're doing somehow. Somehow they have it like. Now take this wherever you want. It does feel like there's like a chip in the back of his head. Well, it's inside his skull, so I don't know how that works, but yeah, where they're programming him like a computer. Wonder when they went waiting for him to hit delete. Something like that. It feels like they're keeping his health going, obviously. Because it wasn't doing that, I don't think he'd be here right now. Obviously, they prepped him up for the presidential whole situation with that and diced him up with a bunch of drugs. No surprise there, right? There is something going on with Biden's eyes. Yeah, kind of like cybernetic something, like contact lenses or something like that's going on with that. So they don't mind him making a fool of himself as long as he says what he needs to say during his speeches. So so he's propped up public on so many different levels. It's like our first AI, our artificial intelligence president. Of course, you can say Reagan was kind of like that too. But this is more in our face disclosure. So if you're looking for a robot as a president, I think we're pretty much getting there. So more power to us on that one. The rest, there's a lot of Anunnaki in South Africa. It's connected to like gold reserves, things like that. Gold still has a power around it, but obviously the negative Anunnaki played a big role in enslaving us. They were not the only ones. Obviously, one of the ways they enslaved humanity was with money, jewels, pretty things. It wasn't that hard. Well, for those humans, this is in the ancient past, it feels like for humans that were shut down of their own abilities, like many humans in the past did have telepathic abilities, and I mean, it might have been in the third dimension or fourth dimension, third to fourth. They still had a lot of psychic abilities, but as they're shutting everyone down, they brought money to them, to bring the money system in. Instead you don't have psychic powers anymore, you can't tap into your grandma or your mom, but we can. How about these nice little, jewels and all that stuff like that? Obviously, they just bribed it. Well, of course, they made up the system. They make up all these emperors and all that. They're obviously behind. Well, not just Anunnaki, other beings behind it. So anyway, nothing really new there. Maybe new for somebody out there. So Sophia, that's a tough one. All right, we'll just go to. I'll just have to channel that. And Pine Gap, obviously, like I said, the UFO. The UFO stuff, obviously, they're spying on people. They don't care, but they're also spying on the U.S. No surprise there either. Of course, the CIA is there too, publicly. But they are spying on the U.S. from Australia. I'm not sure why that would do that. Somehow they do it. Yeah. So just trying to make our lives better or worse. So yeah, those satellites that are used for spying are also used, obviously, to spread this whole situation, this our little health situation dilemma we're going on. because there's a certain frequency it goes on. Now, if they're aware of it or not, so obviously men are not aware, but somebody's aware of it. So no surprise there. Yeah, I see the Anunnaki. Now it's not just them, but switching people out. Like like the walk-in thing, or switching with a clone or something. I see them doing that. They do that more in the fourth dimension, but it does affect us here in the physical. It's usually politicians they're messing with. So you have this politician that's super corrupt or whatever. Switch it with a clone or something like that. Fourth dimensionally. Well, usually politicians are so tapped out anyway, morally. So they already sold themselves out. Not all of them, but quite a few. So switching them out with other versions of them and all that. Not sure how they do that, but is that all a bit much of a surprise? So anyway, all right. I imagine there's others involved with that, but anyway, politics stuff. Yeah, I was surprised with Anunnaki. Of course, Anunnaki, has a strong connection to Jerusalem and the belief systems there, and also the fear. So obviously, the negative ones are pushing the fear as much as they can, that they might get invaded and all that. So they made Israel, at least the high ups, very paranoid. Done by design. So I also feel in Israel, a lot of Nordic Palladian beings. Of course, you had that during World War II and so forth. So, all right. Okay, we connect to Anunnaki beings, and we'll go to Sophia. Okay, all right. Blessings. Greetings. We are Anunnaki. We are, yes, more of the consciousness. The colors on your planet, as you know, have been manipulated. The world can be a lot more colorful, a lot more flamboyant on many levels. Basically, for the human to just let themselves go free, not to judge. Obviously, the male and female energies have been downgraded for the frequencies they can be at. Just allow both genders to do whatever they want, color-wise, dress-wise, and just allow the individual to have its power. But as you know, there is a version of female has to be a female clothing and all that matters, and the male has to be the way they are too. But obviously, there's places like Ireland or Scotland where the kilt. So some men are wearing dresses and stuff. Not that all men need to wear dresses, but just shows that, it's allowed. In the higher frequencies, it just let yourself be free. So even the Neo character in the second one kind of had kind of a dress type of thing. A little bit. Let's do that with that. Stylish, of course. You'll notice that more too. It's just male and female usually switch roles, clothing wise, but it shows that they're willing to allow that feminine or masculine into their lives. So, like a male that needs to be more masculine, or wants to be more feminine, will do kind of like a feminine dress, but more in a male way, but still they have to wear makeup and stuff like that. That's another way of allowing the feminine to balance oneself out. And eventually this will be made more clear. Eventually your world is going through a guideline of how to be a human. Many are going through this whole gender, at least the children are being forced into it. Like what kind of genders are going to be, that's all manipulation. There are other ways, better ways, healthier ways of going about it. So obviously it's a major agenda going on. Eventually that would be healed, but right now humans are giving into it. It's hard to heal something when humans give their power to it. It's just like aliens can't just swoop down and fix it. Once humans say yes, we can only assist with the healing process. It's like World War II. World War II was brought to its knees, at least the people were, and it could have went a lot better than that. This world is known for war, as you can see. The war of words is you're in now. You don't have a war of weapons so much anymore. In some parts of the world, yes. But for the most part, it's belief systems. So you are tapping more into the multi-dimensions by allowing you are technically in a form of peace. Maybe not in a full-scale version of it, but there is a more peaceful time compared to what it has been in the past. Obviously, the health situation makes it a little more difficult for peacefulness to be found, but that depends on how much power you give them over yourself, as many do. Yes. Well, I was going to do too much detail on that. Greetings. Yes, I am the energy of Sophia. One moment. There's still a generation that does not quite understand my energies. Yes, I'm very kind of like a medieval type of being, one that indirectly feels like she should be fulfilled constantly. Of course, a lot of feminine energies here feel that they need to be someone waiting on them all the time. Of course, some do take it to. There are female archetypes here to control your reality. Some do it with their looks. Paris Hilton, for example. Now, she'd been weaponized. Well, she agreed to it. She's learning more about herself also. Not to say that, it's not that she's bad, but she is going through celebrity manipulation, as you can say. But the feminine frequencies here, or my frequencies in general, yes, I'm not exactly the easiest person to connect with. Well, it's all about your belief systems. If you want a neutral version of me, a neutral version will connect with you. If you want a service to self version of me, that will show up also. So, yes, many beings felt this world was owed to them because it has been protected in the past. Like the feline beings felt this world was theirs. The reptilian beings feel the same way. And there's countless other beings, even Anunnaki. Interesting enough, the Anunnaki is very interested in its nature. Interesting enough, it's interested in its trees. A lot of Anunnaki beings have not seen the tree energies as they see here. It's like trees are like computers. They're organic energies, but they are like computers. You feel the energies of a tree, you can get the idea of what area, your neighborhood or a city, you connect to the tree energies and ask them how it is. You just tap into it. It's a little bit complicated there with in your belief systems. But the tree people are there to set the world straight also. Now, there is sometimes a divide within the tree energies. Many of you have had incarnations as a tree being and realize how complicated it can be because as a tree, physically, you're just standing there. There's more to it than that, but there are limitations. Like sometimes you want to reach out and not strangle somebody. But the tree energies are also connected to think of like an intellect of Einstein or beyond that. And this is a tree essence, but knows that this reality needs its energy field for various different reasons, for children to play around or whatever it might be. So, yeah, tree frequencies will be understood. There's a lot of medicine energies connected to the trees, at least the leaves that have not been fully discovered. And just the tree energies obviously open up portals on different levels. And trees, yes, you also, They can't have an influence here. Think about the tree energies as it's like the land, the ocean, but on land, and the waves of it. And it does influence politicians. It also the tree energies also allow certain beings that know its frequency to teleport to your reality. You can see the tree energies is technically in some form hiding the other dimensions. So it's just there will one day be an unveiling of it. But of course, humans have to understand the Earth a little bit more clearly. Yes, there's a small niche amount of people that understand it, but yes, it needs to go more global or worldwide. Just your knowledge, you don't have to have a following or a huge or no following at all. That's okay. It's just the spiritual knowledge, or however you want to label it, for it to be random information for the Earth to absorb and heal and just look at things more differently. It's like a spiritual bath, you can say. And it still be open to other spiritual belief systems. It does help one have a round view of things. Well, maybe not the easiest because there's so much to carry around. Obviously, I'm not going into full detail of my energy field this time, but I will go through in the future. Blessings. Greetings to you. This is Pine Gap, Australian consciousness. Realize the surveillance is also not just audio, but pictures, images. That basically surveillance is like a hacking, a legalized hacking. Much of what they find is actually on the dark web, but they can also go into the history of it too. So they're all governments are looking at the dark web for various different reasons. See if they're going to be exposed and then have come close to that. So the dark web for the surveillance agent is basically, yes, it's bank for them. It's not full. It is mostly controlled by your agencies, your alphabet agencies, your what do you call it? Your CIA and things of that kind. So it's as Australian energies, yes, it's been hijacked by some of the most powerful people in your world. I would say also in your universe. Well, because they're locking it down, at least in the past. See, this one it's not locked down, but either way, to have that much power over an island, same as New Zealand, they're showing how powerful they are. They don't care. And maybe you're going to clear those frequencies, but it's not entirely time just yet. Well, humans don't necessarily have to recognize what's happening, but realize a place like Pine Gap is also keeping extraterrestrial energies being seen, as you know. They're not willing to show the full. I mean, they also have images or details of actual humans talking to aliens on ships. Now, how they got those images, they're not going into detail. Eventually, so I believe many of you can tap into those energy fields. But yes, your spy agencies know very much well of the alien presence here. They have, yes, actually raw information, physical information, which they're not willing to give up. And a lot of the spy agencies don't really trust the Vatican because the Vatican is known to make friends, but also destroy people. And that is just a mafia side secret society connected to it. Sometimes even more powerful than your spy agencies. So